Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerd Age. This is a show where we talk about everything nerdy. My name is Mick, and with me as always are my co-hosts Josh.
What's up?
Corey.
Hey.
And Jonah.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the show, guys. We're going to jump right into basically just a bunch of Star Wars stuff. We got some Andor episodes to catch up on, and then we're going to jump into some Tales of the Jedi. So let's start with Andor.
Let's start with Andor.
Yeah.
With 2 episodes we're discussing. We kind of talked about this before the podcast. It's kind of every episode just kind of building and building and building. And so obviously we got Andor, who's in prison now, and they're building this these things. We don't know.
They're all exactly the same.
You know what
they need a lot of them.
What they need to do?
What?
In this next episode, we need to go down to another level. And the stuff that Andor is building, that stuff gets sent down and they take it apart.
That'd be
So they're just
depressing.
doing the same stuff.
Oh my
That'll
gosh.
prove how terrible the Empire truly is. No, but this, I've really liked how the kind of the prison just sucks. I think the best part of these 2 episodes is Andy Serkis, who is the voice of Snoke. Obviously, this isn't Snoke origin
confirmed.
story.
Yeah, for sure.
You know how many people were like, "Oh, is Snoke connected?" Oh
They
my
use
gosh.
his body. Once he dies, they use his body. No, but I think he has been amazing in this
he's
series, and kind of just how I think we'll just jump off what stuff you guys liked if I bring something up. But what I really liked, the arc of his story, you know, where he's like, follow the rules, we're all getting out, you know, like you just do your thing until your time's up. But then when he realized that they're really not getting out, like they're just being used and they'll just kill him.
Yeah.
That realization at the end of that episode, you know, when he's like, how many guards? He's like, no more than 12.
Yeah.
That to me was like amazing.
Okay,
that they
yeah.
did. But yeah, what do you guys think of that whole situation, the prison and everything like that?
Yeah, I definitely dig it. It's a unique prison system that we haven't really seen before with the whole electric floor thing, and like apparently there's no weapons from the guards, but yeah, it's just a cool different way to have a prison system. And yeah, I agree. Andy Serkis, I like seeing him as like Andy Serkis, not some mocap guy, even though he's really good at it. It's just nice to see him as himself. So yeah, I'm glad he's in the show, and he's been definitely a highlight for these past 2 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I really like everything going on in the prison, like the aspect of them trying to figure out what's going on from the other floors, and they're like, you know, doing sign language or trying to figure stuff out. I really enjoyed that. Or even when they're like trying to figure out like, oh, what went wrong?
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of like
Freaking out.
panicking, and they're like, well, what happened? Like they're saying this. It creates like an interesting like feeling of like helplessness, basically. And I really like I think they really basically show that really well with the prisoners. And yeah, that scene where I like the scene where Andy Serkis is like talking about like, we don't know anything, and they do like the close up on his face, and he's
Well,
like,
he's
it's all a
realizing.
rumor. Don't worry about it. And you can see like the realization in his face, and it's just like amazing acting by Andy Serkis. You can just see like slowly how he's just like, yeah, maybe it's not all okay, and I'm not going to get out of here. Which is kind of what his realization has been, or what he's been going for the whole time.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think that scene in the hallway where Olaf, what's his name?
Olaf?
He was
Olaf.
super getting wrecked basically, and then the doctor kind of gave him that intel, and it was just like that was the moment. And so that's the first moment of this whole series that I've actually felt anything really.
Yeah.
So that was good. So kudos to them. That was a good episode. And yeah, I think it's cool. I think they're kind of setting up. I hope this is what they do, but it feels kind of like a Great Escape kind of situation. I hope it's kind of like that, because I want more people to be involved and it to be more of like a group effort, and which is I think what they're leading to us to be at. And they've set us up to kind of understand how the prison works and how the floors work. They kept emphasizing the boots and then the elevator. And so they're putting all these things together. And then Cassian was also playing with the like plumbing or electric box in the bathroom. So they're setting all this stuff up. And the fact that they have communication to the other teams is also cool too. Mm-hmm. So I'm very interested to see how they kind of pull this off. Is there going to be any intervention by anyone outer. I don't know. I don't think so. But it felt like they were like, yeah, no one leaves. So do they have means to escape? I mean, I'm interested, you know, but I think they've set up something really fun here. I think in the grand scheme of things, this is kind of like super down a trail, which is fine and it's fun. They've got 12 episodes to do whatever they want. And so that's cool. And maybe some of these guys who help them escape build towards a future team together, you know, with help Cassian down the road. Who knows? But we're trying to get Cassian to this point where he becomes a rebel.
Yeah.
And so this is super cool. I love this. This is him kind of realizing and really kind of like getting the screws, you know, driven into him, kind of being just like, dang, they are oppressing everyone and they don't care who you are. Mm-hmm. And it was for petty. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he's sentenced to death for that, basically. And so that was cool. I think that was the best episode so far. I loved how they kind of gave that feeling of like claustrophobic kind of feel.
Yeah,
because it was like it almost felt like a hospital without windows, you know. And even when they did like the corridors where they could see the other teams, you're like, oh, it felt almost like underwater. They are technically underwater, but like it felt like claustrophobic in that way.
Yeah, I think there's to piggyback off on what you said, where you said like, are some of the guys gonna be helping him? Well, one of the guys, Melchi, who's one of the guys, he's in Rogue One.
Yeah, and the way he like looks at him, like he's like, I know, and
so that's kind of cool to be like,
wavelength.
They got the same actor, and you're like, oh, that connection. So they're gonna obviously he'll make it through. But yeah, I like what you're saying about the prison, how it's done. It even though everything's like clean and super bright, it's like depressing, and that's really cool. And there's that
it's almost like insane asylum kind of
and there's that one scene where the guy basically commits suicide, right? Where he just and like people are just he's right, and people are like, oh, it's gonna smell bad, like that
how
whole,
inconsiderate, like oh man,
like that I thought was like really good, because it does, like you said, it makes you, they've done a really good job of making you feel like the oppression and the claustrophobia and just all that kind of stuff, that I think those scenes, like I said, as I've said from the beginning, like my favorite scenes have been the Mon Mothma, the Luthen stuff. I've really enjoyed the stuff in the prison, because it's been like,
me too.
It's done so well, and it's intriguing. It's not just like, okay, there's kind of a difference between that and the heist they did. Like I didn't care much for those characters, which was a cool reveal that she's Mon Mothma's sister. I thought that was cousin. That was interesting. To see there's that element, but I've really enjoyed the prison stuff.
What do you guys think about Bix? Was that her name?
I thought that
situation
that was pretty sweet. Cool. Like for this last episode 9, to like
we're starting to kind of connect a little bit more with the different storylines,
and then to start out with like the whole thing with what is it, Dr. Gorst or whatever? Yeah. The casting in this show is incredible. That's like that guy turns around and you're like, yeah, that guy looks like I hate that dude. Terrible person.
And he wasn't like overly creepy, like oh, it's corny.
Yeah,
but he was like real.
Let me show you. Yeah, he was just like
Nazi vibes.
Yeah. He like took pride in what he was doing, and he enjoyed it.
And like oversharing the information. Like, this is from this creature, from this and that.
I want to know exactly how I'm tortured.
Yeah. It was good. It was. I mean, it was messed up, but
when he was like, we figured out that they're children.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh.
Yeah, we've like amplified it. And like, we've taken this terrible thing where we oppressed and murdered, like committed genocide. And then we're taking their screams and basically using that to torture other people. It's pretty like, that's pretty bad.
But it's good because not good. It's interesting.
You know what we mean.
It's such a good representation of the actual empire. Because it's like, they take this super cruel thing, but they justify it with like facts, and they kind of like, just like, make it clean almost, and like without any like wrinkles or imperfections. They're like, this is the fact.
Right.
This is what we do.
Let's be efficient.
But we're not going to talk about any of the nitty gritty. There is no nitty gritty. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting and believable character.
And I thought that shot was really cool of like, you're like, oh, what's going to happen? And you don't hear anything. You just see her face and the close up to her. And then just like her screams. It's like really well done.
Well, and they shot the same, like when the door closes and that follows the guy. That's the same shot from when they're torturing Leia.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool too, that they're kind of just a nod to that kind of stuff. What did you guys think of kind of the whole Mon Mothma situation and Luthen? They're kind of going back and forth. That happening, and what did you guys think of? Because I think one of even out of all the scenes that I really enjoyed, I think my favorite scene was the Saw Gerrera and Luthen conversation. What did you guys think about that?
Yeah, I thought the Saw Gerrera stuff was good because you're trying to see like Luthen's trying to pull everyone together, but Saw's not going for it.
It's kind of more the same that we've seen with him.
Yeah. He loves chewing up that scenery, dude. His like monologue, his little like
so good.
speech was so good.
Yeah.
And I like seeing that where he's like, what are you? Like, this guy's a separatist, this guy's a New Republic, whatever, and like naming all these different categories. And it's like they're not rebels yet. They're not the rebellion yet. They're
not united.
Their own selves, and they're all doing whatever the heck they want. Which I mean, we find out in this episode that like, Saw Gerrera is kind of right. His the pilot for whatever the guy that he wanted him to work with is like got caught. What did he call it? Slow as an ox or whatever. I'm like, so Saw's kind of right about
Slow.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
yeah.
Like an ox.
But yeah, I thought that was really cool, and I'm interested to see how that kind of progresses.
Yeah.
If we'll see more of it this season or not.
Yeah. How many episodes do we have left?
3.
3 left.
Yeah, because it's 12. This was 9. So
Yeah. I'm
good at
curious to
math.
see where it's going to end. Because how many seasons are there total?
2. There's
2.
going to be one after this that leads up to Rogue One.
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Is the prison like aspect dragging for 3 episodes, or is he getting out next episode?
I think he gets out next episode because I think they've
Makes sense.
set
to
him
me.
up as blocks. I think they talked about 3
Oh,
episodes.
3
3-episode blocks is kind of what they've talked about as
Okay.
their.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume.
Wait. That would mean that episode 9 would be the end of that one.
Did he?
No, because it was.
He's only been in prison 2 episodes, right?
Well, no,
It's a little off.
he got into episode in prison on episode 8. This has only been the second episode.
Yeah.
So you're saying 3 sets of 4 then?
No,
Or
because he
12?
got into the prison at 8. This is 9, so 10 would be. I think that's off with.
Yeah, it's a little off.
With the.
Oh, the initial 2.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that makes. I'm like, math doesn't check. Okay, yep, that makes sense.
Space math.
Yeah, I would assume he gets out probably next episode, and then you'll have
Yeah.
the last
Two to set
to
the-
be like, is there he works for Luthen, or he's starting to set up to get into the rebellion? But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I've liked it so far, and a lot of the stuff. Back to the Saw Gerrera stuff, I really loved. Even that conversation where he says, "What are you?" He's like, "I'm a coward." That to me is like, well, he's gonna die. I'm thinking he's dead at the end of this season. I think that's gonna be the big like. He kind of.
You mean like a
steps out.
spark or something?
Yeah, he steps out from the shadows and to be like, "Hey, yeah, it's been me all this time."
Right.
You need someone to do that, and then maybe that's where Cassian kind of like takes up his mantle of like, "Oh, I'm gonna do something." And Mon Mothma kind of gets more serious about like, yeah, we need to do something. That's what I'm thinking. But I just really loved both those actors and that whole conversation. It's those kind of those kind of scenes that it's so well written that even though nothing's going on like action wise, I'm always like invested and really on the edge of my seat because it's so well written.
Yeah.
So that's been something about this show that I've really enjoyed is the dialogue is just really good. And so it keeps me invested, even like those scenes with Mon Mothma and her husband or Mon Mothma and her friend. They're really well written. And so people may say, oh, it's boring, nothing's happening. But for me, it's like, man, that's gets me excited. I enjoy it. So that's been really good.
Yeah, I like how we keep seeing how big of a jerk her husband is.
But
And daughter.
Like, you're not gonna get a and the daughter.
man.
I think she's gonna have to kill her daughter, bro. She's gonna be a problem.
dang.
You know what I'm saying?
But they did have that reveal where they're like, "Oh, we got married when we were what, 10 or something like that? What was it, like 12?"
Really young.
Yeah, I think it was like, well, they said they were maybe like 14, I think, because they said they were
Yeah.
in Coruscant when they were 15, and they were like, we got married a year earlier or
Yeah.
something like that.
So it's like, "Oh, this starts making sense."
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question about this?
No.
Do you? Okay, sorry. Well,
Yes.
Too bad.
do you think that was a good choice? Because I
For
feel
her? Probably not.
no.
She didn't have a choice. So that was tradition.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Her
Yeah, it wasn't a
husband
choice.
sucks and her daughter is annoying.
Yes.
And so, do you think it would have been better if they were actually like she had to sacrifice them and give them up, like they were good characters and they were part of this, and then there's more of a sacrifice for her to do the rebellion? It feels like for me, it's leading up to be like, well, I mean,
Good riddance.
the fact that she did the
Yeah.
rebellion, it's like she's in a better place now.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a missed opportunity to make her character better by being like, man, she had to sacrifice the love of her life for the rebellion, for the galaxy, and now it's kind of like she can't wait to get rid of this dude. Does that make sense?
I feel like it'd be too tropey if it was like, I have to sacrifice the love of my life and my family for this.
You know when you say it like that.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
No,
You should have said it like that, man.
It seems a little too
My love of my life.
I feel like it's a little too
You're the worst. You're literally the worst.
He brings up good points.
Well, yeah, when you write it that way, I'm saying,
Yeah.
I just go
Those
about.
were your words. I just
go
said it in
about
Marvel's voice.
It's like an example. I go about praising how good the writing is, and then you go with the worst thing like I have to give up the love of my. No, but I'm saying like there's a way to write it where you're like, oh man, she gave up so much for this. At this point, it feels like she's not giving that much up, like to join the rebellion. Like she's not. She hates her family, basically. Like I would hate my family too if they were like that. She
doesn't hate.
I don't think she hates her family.
Well, I mean,
She
she doesn't
loves
hate her
her
daughter.
daughter.
I
for
think
sure.
this
She loves her daughter, but she hates her husband.
I don't.
There's no love
I
there.
don't think she likes him very much.
Yeah, the reason I think this works is it because it puts Mon Mothma as basically the loneliest person in the galaxy. She's completely isolated from everything else.
Try being Yoda.
He's connected to the Force.
And he's got a bunch
Everything.
of animals flying around.
Everything is connected to the Force.
Yeah, so
All
Yoda's
living
connected
things.
to the Force.
So is Mon Mothma.
No, she's not Force sensitive.
It doesn't matter. Everything is connected to the
That you
Force.
know
But can
of.
when you sense the Force? That's what I thought. So I think it works better because it's kind of setting her up as like she literally can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Like she she can't even confide in her husband who's a giant tool. You know what I mean? So I think that works better for, at least for me, for the story than being like, you know, we were married when we were 10, the love of my life.
I guess it's just-
We're inseparable. I can't let you go.
I agree. I think it's something new, and yeah, it does make her feel a lot more like on her own and desperate.
Okay. Corey?
I'm a little torn because it is like your daughter, right? And you're not lonely. The daughter's there. It's you're the one not putting in the time, spending time with your daughter. You know what I mean? Like she's obviously spending more time with her dad. That's why she's a brat. So it's like
Daddy lets me do
so
anything I
so
want.
Mon is just like yeah, she's not at home
Yeah.
because she's got more important things to do, and that's it's a gray area. I think it's up to be it's up to you guys whether or not it's noble or not. It's definitely a gray area.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm just kind of curious to see how it plays out. Obviously, I like what they're doing, but it is making me wonder, knowing what she does and how she, decides to kind of take this step into organizing the rebellion. It does make me wonder how that's going to work and if there was a better way to do it. I'm not saying it's a negative thing right now. I'm just curious, that it's an interesting decision they made to be like, her family situation is kind of the worst.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I know it's a trope, but as opposed to like you think of a Bail Organa and, his wife and all that kind of stuff. Like
Love
people,
of his life.
Well, just having that vulnerability.
yeah.
Right, with your
or just
family.
even like having to sacrifice
Yeah.
something that you love for the greater cause. To me, it's like they might switch it up and like where she ends up like
I wanted
they
to
develop something with
Pillow
her
over the
daughter.
head. The daughter.
That's right.
Put her out of her misery. I actually think it's more heartbreaking if she makes a decision to start the rebellion and she comes out as being against the Empire and her daughter despising her for it.
I think it's
I think that's more impactful than her being like, I got to give up my daughter and she might be hurt. I think that for me is more impactful for her to be like, I can't believe you would go against the Empire, and her daughter absolutely hating her for it.
I could also see a circumstance where it's along those same lines, but maybe the daughter catches on to something and turns her in.
Yeah.
And that would hurt even more because then you're getting stabbed in the back by your daughter or husband or whatever. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? I think that one's a longer burn. I think that her storyline with her family, I think will take a little bit longer because they're still trying to figure out like financial stuff and
Yeah, she's meeting with
We've got two more.
Some gangster next episode.
We've got 2 more episodes. Where do you think they're going to spend their time? We got to go back to the prison at least. Get them out of there.
Yeah, prison. They're going to go back to Durin and the Balrog for sure.
That's right.
No, I think the prison break, you're going to have that.
Obviously.
I think you're going to have Mon Mothma meet the gangster. Those are gangsters.
That's a gangster.
And I think you're going to have probably some Luthen. Luthen's doing stuff. Obviously, you're going to continue to follow the ISB.
Luthen's going to do something.
And they're continuing to figure out. I'm wondering if you get Luthen captured or something, like they start catching on to him, and then the last episode is Cassian's out, and then he's the cousin who's basically supposed to kill him. Mm-hmm. They realize Luthen's captured, and they ask him to help them get Luthen out. And I think that might be kind of
A little double prison break. Yeah. I like it.
Out of one and into another.
That's right.
Or Luthen just shows up to his. He's like, "Hey, what's up, dog? Let's get you out of here."
How do you guys feel about? Is it Cyril?
Dude, I can't stand that dude.
The stalker.
We
get the nice reveal where he's like,
Yeah.
I wait out here sometimes so I can see you.
That was super weird.
I love.
Like, what are you doing?
I think he's
weird.
He's a great actor, but because you just hate him. Like from the beginning, I was like, man, I can't stand this dude. But I do feel bad for him because his mom's voice would drive me insane.
You understand why he's the way he is.
Oh my, you're so good, son. Oh, I'm calling me so proud.
Oh,
Oh my gosh! I was watching the episode. Oh my gosh!
Who's the mom on The Simpsons?
Marge.
Marge, yeah.
Sounds like your sisters.
Call me. Call me.
Were you just smoking a pack of cigarettes before that?
I just tapped in,
Yeah, no, he's, like you said, he's a good actor, but I think that's why I despise his character, is just because he's so good at just being like, he clearly like, I can't say that. He clearly like loves the Empire and like wants to be a part of it. And yeah, the whole stalking scene was so creepy.
Yeah, part of me was like, is he gonna become a rebel like earlier on? I'm like, no, we don't want him. No.
Yeah.
I think he's just a creep. Will do anything to be part of the Empire. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see where his storyline goes. It'll be interesting to see how they wrap his story.
Yeah.
I like the scene where he was slurping his cereal, though. Go ahead. You do the voice, and I'll just slurp this. You do the mom voice.
Uncle, what's his uncle's name?
I can't remember.
Uncle Bertram.
Haro,
yeah.
something like that.
Is there going to be a reveal of who that is, do you think? Or is that just...
Yeah, he's Palpatine.
Eventually, there's got to be a reveal.
You would love that, Jonah. You'd be like, wow, oh my God, best Star Wars ever. Let's have it go.
See, you misrepresent me all the time.
Uncle Harbo.
It's stupid. Harbo, isn't it?
I think
It's something like that.
Because it reminded me of Haribo, like the gummy bears. Anyway, yeah, I'm actually not super interested in his story.
No, I mean,
like he's the least interesting aspect of the story.
I just think it's interesting that he's kind of hanging around, and they make a point to keep showing him like sitting at his desk for like 2 minutes, or like we talked that conversation with his mom multiple times. So I'm like, I want to see how they wrap it up.
Yeah. And they're showing all aspects of the Empire, and that's cool. Part of it. The super boring parts, and how one mistake can change your whole life, and it's cool.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss of the episode?
Wait. What? No, I think we got it, right, guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We will be discussing the next episode of Andor next week. So make sure you come back. Subscribe and like on our YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Everywhere we are there. Nerd Age Podcast. So thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you on next week.